by the random number generator and the highest number for group 1 and the highest number for group 2. All right, so sort by random, largest to smallest. Yes, you are there. First person. Are you presenting or not? You're auditing. You're not required to present.
Yes, I can do that.
So we're gonna take about a half hour. If you go a little under, then nothing's gonna happen. If you go a little over, that's. If I think you're going too much over, I'll just hurry you up so you can end.
Okay.
So around 8 o'clock, a little before 8 o'clock, you should be done.
I'm gonna start to introduce the paper I'm reading this for the last week. It's natural language processing in accounting, auditing, and finance. So basically, this paper is a synthesis of the literature writing by different people and introduce the current and future application of NLP in different areas such as accounting, auditing, and finance. So the first thing I'm going to do is to introduce the introduction. Sorry, skip me seconds. The first thing I'm going to do is to give you the content. For this paper, they have 6 sections. First is introduction, and the second one is methodology, and the third one is classification. Fourth one is prediction. Fifth one is the future application of natural language processing, and the last one is conclusion. So we are going to the introduction. The introduction gives us the background and the motivation of this paper. So, as they said in the paper, natural language processing makes good use of a range of computation techniques of analyzing and representing text at multiple levels of linguistic analysis to enable human-like language processing for a range of particular tasks or applications. And this paper's objective is to summarize the literature and lessons from previous work. Also to identify unanswered questions for future study. Also the last objective is to identify challenges or constraints to the future research. The second one, we are going to the methodology of this paper. So for the methodology, the authors choose to scan the literature from 4 literature reviews from 4 people. You can see it in the paper from Fisher, Lee, Kearney, and the last one, I don't know how to pronounce the name, so we can just pass that. And also they use this technique is used to perform a keyword search to scan the paper. Totally, they used 266, and from this 266, there is 192 is journal articles, and 38 is conference papers, 25 is working papers, 1 book chapter, and 10 doctor dissertation. The domain of these papers is from 3 primary areas. It's accounting, audit, and finance. So in the third part of this section, the author introduced that the evolution of NPL research, the original focus on manual text analysis. And also, after that, in the middle 1980s, basic text mining began to emerge. And recently, since 2010, text mining and NLP application incorporated with ML and AR increased significantly while a decline in manual text analysis. So, although they have 266 literatures. Actually, due to the sample size issues, they also choose to eliminate long empirical and conceptual manuscripts and studies without available sample size. So finally, they choose the 209 studies. And among these 209 studies, the 7 largest sample sizes were cited from 2010 to 2014, and it's finance related. Also, NLP support to analyze the unique data set with digital media. In the final part of the methodology, the author introduced the methodology they use in the NLP combined with AR or NLP combined with ML. They have.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Could you please explain the difference between the AI and ML approach?
AI is typically defined as intelligence that is demonstrated by software or machine that imitates the working of the human kind. And so actually MI is the part of this it's part of this AR's area.
Yeah, I think that you know, artificial intelligence is the umbrella term for that captures any sort of method or computational method to get computers to understand and act like humans. So that's the bigger term. And then the machine learning is just one of the main approaches for developing an artificially intelligent agent through the use of labeled or unlabeled data. But I don't know. I think I'm guessing most of these papers are almost all machine learning.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any that are not. So maybe if they're, I know she, at the end of the paper, they have all these charts on about the study. Does it tell that some are AI and some are not? I mean, some are machine learning, some are not machine learning. Is there anything like that? Or are they all machine learning?
They told us some of them is combined with AR and some of them is combined with MI. Also, some part of them is combined both of them. So it really depends on the paper they list, and they give it to us on the appendix, so we can review it on that part.
Okay, and then Maxim wants to know if most are supervised or unsupervised machine learning. I mean, I guess most are supervised. And we'll learn more about this later on, but that just means that the outcome is known. Like, but we'll get into that later. But if you come across that, keep that in mind too.
Yeah, and for that question, also they have some answers in this paper. You can see that in the objectives. I mean, in the paper, it shows us that machine learning is often considered to be a subfield of AR. So that's what I mentioned before.
All right, thanks. Go ahead.
So then we are going to the third part, which is the classification. And for the classification, they have also several parts. So I'm go one by one. First is a knowledge organization. And for this part, because at first I don't understand this definition, so I Google it, and this definition comes from the Wikipedia. Knowledge organization, KO, it's an intelligent discipline concerned with activities such as document description, indexing, and classification that serve to provide systems of representation and order for knowledge and information objects. And for this part, why I put this on is because the author put different the literature they use under this part, and they choose to classification some part of the literature under this section. Some is some authors such as like Congoli. This just apply NLP combined with ES to the creation of a semantic knowledge basis for financial accounting standards. The second part of this classification is taxonomy and tertiary generation. Also, this part of definition comes from Wikipedia. The taxonomy is a practice and a science of classification of things or concepts, including the principles that underlie such classification. For the thesaurus, it's a reference work for finding synonyms and sometimes antonyms of words. They are often used by writers to help find the best word to express an idea. So some of the others to put this method in their papers to introduce that they employ the NLP and some other methodology to introduce the taxonomy and the thesaurus. Also, they use some of other authors advocates for extensive markable language-based document type definition to enable more effective automatic NLP-based information retrieval from accounting literature, and and there is an author called Kaniser. They use the value of thesaurus and search term under the method by NLP and augment with LSI and HAC for searching the FARS database. The third part for the classification is NLP. NLP has been proven useful in classifying the financial statement content. So now we go to the first part, is prediction. In this part, the authors introduce that NLP is combined with other analysis methods they can use to predict and detect fraud. Also, it can do the things like predicting stock price and market activities. According to the authors, 51 studies is identified to focus primarily on financial outcomes and stock valuation and market effects. Also, NLP has been used to facilitate news-based trading, where analysts seek to isolate financial news that affect stock price or market activities, like the correlation between financial headlines and foreign currency exchange rates. Additional predictive application is also developed to address various market phenomena. Researchers also applied NLP approaches to predict stock price and market activity in various world markets. So different authors from different countries, maybe not from that home country, they also use the NLP approaches to predict the index of like Hong Kong stock or Indian stock, Australia, Germany, Argentina, and Brazilian. For the prediction, they also use the NLP to state the association between text-based content and various financial phenomena. like change in the linguistic pattern of Nokia, Hanxin, and Motorola's quarterly financial filing. And they use that the previous quarterly financial filing to predict the change in the subsequent physical quarter. Also, they use that NLP to predict that from the CEO's compensation and turnover regarding the CEO's pay, the previous pay. The tone and the content of IPO prospectus were the predictive of future firm performance.
Okay, yeah. Let me just say something, because
Yes.
you know we read that all these papers do these things, but I mean, just to give you an idea of what that means. So that last one, so the IPO prospectus, you know, the company is going to do an initial public offering, right?
Yes.
And they're talking about their company, the risks, the future, how great they're going to be. And suppose investors want to know, you know, is there a relationship between the way they talk and what actually happens? So what the researcher will do is pick one or two or three or four, you know, specific attributes of the text. And like here it says the tone. So what does that mean? It means, are they very positive? Are they very positive about the future? Are they very negative about some of the risks? Those are the types of things that they're counting. And then they just do some correlation between, you know, through regression between what was said and what actually happens in the future. And a lot of times, you know, they're looking at the past. In the research, you already know what happened. Okay, so you can say, this is what their IPO prospectus said in 2010, and then 5 years later, 2015, this is what happened. You know, we already know what happened. So that's kind of how it works. And then what you can do is, I mean, the idea is to be able to say, oh, we found this strong relationship between tone and some of the content, and we were able to predict with some, you know, some of our variables had predictive value to say whether the company was successful or not in the future. And now here's a new method that can be used out. You know, you publish your work, and then maybe someone in industry, or maybe you continue with the work and you say, okay, we're going to use this now on current companies to predict what will happen in the future, and we're going to trade based off this, or something like that. So that's kind of the idea of all this research, right? You just want to be able to, you're just taking the textual data to predict what's going to happen in the future. Could be fraud, could be all these different variables they're talking about, all these different dependent variables. So yeah, I know, you know, this is basic stuff, but I just wanted to make sure everyone understands this is kind of the gist of what we're talking about in this class. And then in our class, we're going to be working on the linguistic part. You know, how do they actually get that data, and how do we get really good at obtaining the textual data ourselves? All right, go ahead.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So in terms of firm performance, is it more like terms of finance or accounting? That I mean that when we see the relationship between IPO and the performance, are we seeing like market price or accounting like profit?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you clearly. I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question again?
Yeah. So here, in terms of firm performance, is it referring to market price or accounting perspective, like profits or income, like that?
Maybe return, right?
Because it's IPO.
Yeah, but in this paper, they didn't mention that much. They just mentioned that they can use the NLP to apply the NLP method to predict the future from performance. But I believe in the reality, it's not just accounting performance. It's also the market performance. But that's just my opinion. It's not from this paper.
It can be, they do it all. They do it all.
Okay.
So depending on your paper, you need to choose which one makes the most sense.
So I have a question for Kevin. So do you like buy like this kind of a research? Like, is there a company that has like a negative like the tone when they're doing an IPO? For me, like it may be just related with the personality. Like I think in IPO, like it seems natural to think that the company always try to exaggerate, or they were or confident in their like success. Like how do they define the cultural relationship between their like the tone and the future performance? Because I think it's very endogenous.
Yeah, that's a big question. Do I buy this? I guess it doesn't matter what I buy. It's an empirical question whether there is a relationship between the tone and future firm performance. I think that this is a difficult data set where you have the prospectus, where you have the 10K filings, where everything has been carefully written and evaluated by multiple people, including a set of lawyers, before it's actually presented to the public. So that makes the data kind of scrubbed, and people are still looking for clues in it. They're still looking for, attitude about the future. And yeah, the prospectus is going to be, I haven't worked with these IPO S1s or whatever form it is very much, but you're going to have to look at each individual filing. So in this textual analysis data we're working with, you're going to have to look at the content is going to dictate things. It's going to dictate what you're looking for. So you're going to expect tone, like maybe exaggerated tone or maybe overconfidence is a common characteristics of an IPO, but maybe not so much in just a regular annual report. So maybe if you find it in an IPO, it means nothing, but maybe if you find it in a company that's existed for 20 years on the stock market, maybe overconfidence is a big indicator of something, right? So for every study you do, you have to, the linguistic characteristics of the data is going to mean something different. I think a lot of these studies, I think text mining has has merit. I don't think every study does, and I'm not sure, about these individual papers and what they did and what they claim. But I think the field as a whole is important. If you ask me if I buy this stuff, yeah, of course I really like the text mining aspect. I am more interested in the unfiltered language. So you can get less filtered language from different data sources, including like earnings calls, which we'll be doing later in this semester. All right, I'm taking all of Yao's time. Can you end in like 5 to 10 minutes?
Part of this prediction, they introduced that the corporate annual report is like a 10K filing we just downloaded before, and they contains abundant textual data they can use for NLP analysis. And the researchers, they establish the predictive relationship between the corporate disclosure and the future firm performance, which we talked before. Also, and they think they can use the NLP method to predict the value of the web content. I believe most people use the internet like Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. They can surf the internet and they can, like what we did before, like scribing the information, text mining document, and they do the analysis to predict the value of this web content. Also, for they mentioned that language, natural language processing and readability of the studies. They put in the 3 sections. For accounting and auditor, literature highlights the significant association between the financial disclosure, readability, and the current financial performance. In finance, the manual text analysis established that annual report readability is a direct predictor of firm performance, with poor readability associated with poor performance, and vice versa. The nature and the purpose of readability studies changed as NLP-related tools became more sophisticated. So they got a bunch of questions for this part. In the future, will the research provide a new readability analysis? Also, will research develop new and innovative amalgamations of readability measures, text mining, or NLP combined with ML or AR methods? The number of readability-based studies peaked during the 2009 to 2011. After that, there is a huge decline. So will the decline keeping? Also, with the advent of new accounting documents stimulate additional studies? These are the questions they ask. So finally, we came to the future application of natural language processing. So in this part, the author introduced that what we can do in different areas for the research. For accounting, the newly developed parsing tools and text-based classifier have been proposed, including automated assessment of current journal articles to facilitate taxonomy creation and categorization. Automated exploration of emerging literature to determine whether new classes and taxon need to be added to the existing taxon of accounting literature has been encouraged. Automated creation of retrieval thesaurus for accounting information has yet to be accomplished. In an auditor part, the author mentioned that the study the efficacy or efficient of using automation rather than manual methods to code textual evidence and access the content of MD&As. Refine and extend application to risk assessment, bankruptcy prediction, and fraud detection. We can also to explore the possibility of using NLP to help identify and assess companies' internal risk by examining the characters of the report and disclosure. Auditor-related readability studies may merit further attention because, according to the authors, a lot of paper regarding the readability studies, they focus on the finance.
I have a question here. Could you take it back? So I'm very curious about in those auditing part number 2. So how can they specifically analyze the risk to do the risk assessment?
Actually, they didn't mention how they do it because this is the future application. We can use the NLP to research. They just provide the aspect that we can do the research. And for me, regarding this question, I think risk assessment depends on the risk classification. Right now, according to Basel commit, we have credit risk, market risk, and operation risk. This is the three primary type of risk, and they also have some models. We can use that model to do the risk assessment. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I want to add a point there. Actually, we'll read some papers about risk assessments, bankruptcy prediction, and fraud detection later weeks. So you do not need to worry about that. We can see some examples later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we are going to the continuous auditing. And
all right, you have 3 minutes.
Yes.
So you can pick your favorite slide. This one. Oh, there's only 2 slides. All right. Go.
Yeah, just 2 slides.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so for the continuous auditing, we can use the NLP to highlight the benefit of analyze unique information source, including a social media content, which I mentioned before, Twitter, blogs, Facebook. And also we can also advocate for the use and value of combined NLP with neural networks and IA technologies. In finance, they state that we can use NLP to do the narrative disclosure were identified as untapped repositories of qualitative financial market data, which could be used to improve investment decisions. Also, it remains to be seen what qualitative data sources are yet to be identified and assessed through the application of NLP. And for the conclusion, the author just show us what's the challenge in front of us and what they did in this paper. So they introduced that SVM is a method they use the most common in NLP-based researchers. NB is the second, followed by the TF, IDF. Also, what I said before, the challenges is the unique characteristic of natural language continue to
I believe we're going to have a presentation by Yuqian. And are you ready, Yuqian?
Yes. Let me share my screen. So this paper is When is a Liability Not a Liability? Textual Analysis, Dictionaries, and 10 Case. I love the title very much. It's very natural language processing title. For this paper, the paper is motivated by the.
Can I interrupt you real fast?
Sure.
This is did anyone notice this paper has been cited like a million times? So this is one of the top 3 papers in text mining and accounting. So it's a good one to just remember. So go ahead.
In finance and accounting, there is a growing body of research started using text analysis to examine the tone and sentiment of corporate 10K reports or newspaper articles. And one of the most common tool for word classification is the Harvard Psychological Dictionary. But there is a problem with this dictionary. We all know that English words have many meanings. And one word categorization tool derived from one discipline may not work very well in another discipline. So they also started to ask a research question, whether a word list developed for psychology and sociology can translate very well into the business domain, and specifically whether it can translate very well into the finance and accounting domain. and more specifically, whether it translates very well when we analyze 10K reports. So based on this motivation, the authors, they first reviewed some literatures about word categorization, and they found there are many different methods of word categorization in text mining papers in accounting and finance. And Harvard Dictionary is one of the most commonly used one. For example, in 2017, Textual, they found that a high level of pessimistic words in a journal column can precede lower returns the next day. And in their paper, they used the negative word dictionary and weak word dictionary from the Harvard Dictionary to study the journal column, and they found that negative word counts are actually a noisy matter of qualitative information. And in 2008, still Tedlock and his co-authors, they found that they studied firm-specific news stories using Harvard negative word list. And in 2008, another researcher, Andrew Burke, they used the Harvard positive word list, and they found that this list may fail to correlate with financial disclosure because of erroneous classification. So in this research, the authors, they analyzed 10 case report, and they found substantial noise of misclassification using the Harvard list. So
But that,
yes.
Go back. That Tedlock paper cannot be 2017, right?
I think it should be 2007. It might be a typo.
Yeah, okay,
Sorry.
it's fine. Just don't let it happen again.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
So for this paper, the authors used the data from the EDGAR website, so the same website as we used for our homework one. The authors, they download 10Ks and 10K405's reports from the website over 1994 to 2008. After they download all the reports, they use the several data filter data filter requirements. So first of all, they make sure that all the reports, they can have CRSP, PERMNO match. I'm not quite sure what it means. I'm not an accounting or finance people, but I did a little bit research, and it means it's a unique identifier for stock or company. So if I have some wrong explanation, please feel free to correct me.
No, this happens all the time. So they'll download, like here it's 50,000.
Oh, sorry.
They download 50,000 10Ks over a period of 15 years. You'll probably be able to download even more. And then you'll have to match the company. You want, you need certain data, like they want the stock market data, or maybe you want the data from their financial filings. So for stock market data, each company is assigned this unique identifier, right? You guys know your data from database, how you have a primary key, unique identifier for every row, for every company. And if they can find the company's unique identifier, then they get to keep that data. That 10K they downloaded stays in their data set. But if they can't find it, then it just gets eliminated. So what they do is they keep track. Okay, we started with 50,000, but by the end, because we couldn't find the unique identifier for CRISP, we couldn't find the unique identifier for other unique identifiers from other data sets. It happens all the time. The number of observations goes down and down. And here they end up with, 37,000 10Ks or something like that. So whenever you're doing a paper, you need to keep track of this type of stuff. How many you started with, and then how many you end up with, and the reasons for eliminating some of the observations.
And can you let me know, how do they specifically filter the data?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about. So they include multiple rules to filter the data. The first one, as I just mentioned, they make sure that there is a unique identifier. And the second filter is that they make sure that the key regression variables are available, because in this paper, they want to study the effect or the correlation between the tone of the 10K report and the company performance, such as the returns, and also if they want to control some other variables like the size of the company, the institutional ownership, things like that. So they make sure that all the regression variables are available. The third filter is that they make sure that all the firms they are listed on the NYSE, AMEX, or NASDAQ. And also they make sure that the reported stock price of the firm before the file date is at least $3. This can exclude some companies with very low stock price, because there may be some special conditions for those companies, so they didn't include those companies. And also they make sure that there is at least 6 days of trading in a year before and the year after the filing date. Also, they make sure that the 10K document include more than 2,000 words. If it's too short, maybe it's some very extreme case and it didn't contain too much information to analyze. And also for each calendar year, they only use one filing for one firm. So apart from the 10K report, they also have a subsample, which is the management discussion and analysis subsection of the 10K. So for the MD&A subsection, they used a 250 word filter. So they make sure that this section include at least 250 words. And this yields to about 37,000 firm year data.
So do you guys know where to get all this data, the CRISP database, the CompuStat database? Do you know where to go get that type of stuff? The words database. So it's available to all you guys. So WRDS, it's hosted by it's the Wharton, University of Pennsylvania School of Business. So it's all easy to get, just so you guys know.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Sure. So they also have some subsample data. For example, they have a sample of 10 cases filed by firms subject to shareholder litigation under the Rule 10b-5. For those firms, they were accused of accounting fraud. So they want to use the dictionary they developed to see if the negative tone of the 10K report could predict whether the firm was accused of accounting fraud or not. And also they have the data about whether the firms was disclosed at least one material weakness in internal control during the filing period. So this is similar thing, because they want to see whether the negative word list could predict whether the firms was disclosed at least one weakness in internal control. I'll talk more about this later on. So, in this paper, in this data set, the variables involved in the analysis include 4 parts. The first one, in terms of the dependent variable, the key dependent variable is the 4-day holding period excess returns over days 0 through 3. And also they also include many control variables like the firm size, book to market, the share turnover, the pre-file date, pharma French alpha, the institutional ownership, and the dummy variable for NASDAQ listing. Also, there are some other measures like standardized unexpected earnings, the analyst dispersion, the analyst revisions, and also they have an industry dummy variable as a control. So how do the authors measure the tones? Actually, they used the bag of words method. With this method, they parse the 10K documents into vectors of words and word counts. When they do the bag of words methods, they exclude all the tables and exhibits from the analysis because the tables or exhibits, they may have some standardized words and it didn't contribute too much to the tone. So this is the basic method. They basically just use the proportion of negative words in the 10K reports. Also, they used a term weighting scheme. So for the term weighting scheme, it can help account for word frequency and normalization. And also it can adjust for impact across the entire collection. So this is the function they used to do the term weighting scheme. And if we look at this equation, the first term, actually it represents, it can attenuate the impact of high frequency words with a log transformation. In the second term here, so it modifies the impact of a word based on its commonality. I assume everyone have read the paper, so maybe I don't have to explain all the variables one by one. Basically, it just accounts for the word frequency to make sure that highly frequent words will not weighting too much. So yes.
The bag of words methods is part of the NLP. What's the relationship like between?
I think it's just one method of NLP. From my understanding, NLP it's a big field. There are so many different methods under NLP, and bag of words is just one of it.
But can you give like a different definition of bag of words, like you're explaining it to a 5-year-old?
So let's say we have 2,000 words in a 10K report, and we and maybe in the so among the 2,000 words, maybe there are, let's say, 200 unique words. So what we'll get from bag of words method will be for each row, the first column is the word, the second column is how many times the word appears in the 10K report. And we have the second word, third word, all the way down to the 200 word. Is it clear?
Yeah, so what's the, I mean, and the point is, I think also that you're looking at individual words outside the context of where they appear in the text, right?
Yeah.
So you see the word good or you see the word bad, but you don't know if it says not good or not bad. You just see the word good and how many times it appears. So it's one of the weaknesses of the bag of words approach. If you're counting how many times words appear, you don't really understand their meaning within the context of the text. Even saying that, though, it seems to have some value, and it works well sometimes. So go ahead.
So does it mean that we need to manually code the word one by one?
No, you don't do that one by one. You can, when you're working with bags of words, when you're working with word lists, you have the list of words in a text document, and then you can just, go through them programmatically, and you don't do anything one by one. No hard coding.
And then for the text analysis part, the authors use the Harvard Dictionary as a benchmark. So basically, they use the inflected version of the Harvard Sociology Dictionary. So this version of the dictionary account for inflections or different forms of the same word. For example, for the word accident, if we classify it as a negative word, maybe we should also classify accidental as a negative word, so that we just account for different forms of the same word. For this paper, the authors, they developed their own dictionaries. They have the negative dictionary for financial report, the positive dictionary for financial report, the uncertainty, litiges, strong model words, and weak model words for the financial report. So when they proposed when they developed the dictionaries, the strategy they used is to create a relatively exhaustive list of words, and this involves 3 steps. The first step is they create a dictionary of words and word counts from all 10 cases they downloaded. And in the second step, they removed words occurring in less than 5% of the documents. And in the third step, they accounting for the simple negation for financial positive words. For example, if there is one of the 6 words like no, not, none, neither, never, nobody, occurring within 3 words preceding a positive word, they would adjust for this word. And for example, if I say it's not good, so good is a positive word, but with a not good, it simply becomes a negative word.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
So do they do this manually? Is like reviewing all the words?
Honestly, I don't know the answer to this question, because before my presentation, I thought it was manually coded, but it seems not so based on Professor's answer to my last question.
But
So they had to. Oh, go ahead, Maria.
No, I was just saying the last question is bag of words, but this is they are building of their dictionary.
So the dictionary building was manual. It was all manual, and they used a ton of students to read through a ton of 10Ks and find all the possible positive and negative words, strong modal words, weak modal words, litigious words, uncertainty words. So that was all manual. Building the dictionaries was manual, but then when you go out and you count how many times the words appear in the documents, that's all coded.
I see.
So would you say that the biggest value of this paper is they did so much manual work?
Yes, the biggest value of the paper is the dictionary building.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. Is it too subjective to decide which word goes to which word list?
And they didn't talk too much about how they set up the coding rule, but from my personal experience with working on dictionaries, we may have 2 or 3 coders, and if there are any inconsistency between coders, we may choose, for example, if we have 3 coders, we will choose the one with the highest voting rate. So let's say there are some inconsistency between 3 coders, and 2 of them vote it as a negative word, 1 of them code it as a positive word. We will put it into a negative word class. We will put it into the negative category.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I have a question there.
Yes, please.
Could you please briefly illustrate the improvements of the Norrie and MacDonald's dictionary compared with the Harvard dictionary? Are there some improvements?
You mean the difference between this dictionary
Yes.
and this dictionary?
Yes.
I don't know the answer because I don't know the detail about these 2 dictionaries. So sorry, I don't know the answer. And I think they also didn't mention
I think that's the key part of this paper. They added some other, I think, the word model words like such as like uncertainty, litigious, like strong model and weak, and then they are insisting, as the title says, in the words, like there's kind of like, do you no, the dictionary that we use in the Harvard does not reflect the context in the world well, and then they made some like a new dictionary here, and they are like trying to argue that like empirically their dictionary reflect the 10K or like the finance data more in a like a proper way, right?
Yeah, I think the Harvard dictionary includes some words that are not negative in a financial context, like the title liability is not necessarily a negative word.
I suppose this is a good answer.
Yeah, and the paper talks more about, I think, some of the actual words that are different between the Harvard Dictionary and their new dictionary, right? It gives some more examples, like the word cancer.
Yeah, I'll talk about it in the results part.
Okay.
I thought Hanxin was asking me about the difference between this dictionary and this dictionary. So for that part, I was not sure.
Sorry for your confusing. I just tried to ask you whether there's some improvement of the proposed dictionary compared with the Harvard dictionary.
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood it.
And you just say, there are improvements. I'll get to it to a later slide. Now sit tight.
So the word list the authors got, so they got over 2,000 words for the financial negative list. Well, I'll talk about the 2,000 words in the next slide. And let's first summarize what they got for all the 6 dictionaries. So they got about 300 words for the financial negative. This is a typo again. It's a financial positive list. And they got about 200 words for the financial uncertainty list. So this list, they are the words denoting uncertainty with emphasis on the general notion of precession rather than exclusively focusing on risk. Like the words approximately, about. So those are just the general notion of imprecession. And also they have financial litigiousness list, and it reflects a propensity for legal contest litigiousness. It's about 700 words, and they got about 19 strong model words and 27 weak model words. The other terms expressing the levels of confidence. In terms of the financial negative words and the 10K report, they first did a description analysis, and they found that for 10K reports, there is a lower percentage of 10K words in the financial negative word compared to the 10K words in the Harvard negative words. This makes sense because the Harvard dictionary is about 2 times larger than the financial negative dictionary. And also they found that there is a gradual and steady upward trend of Harvard negative word list and the financial negative word. Also, they found a correlation between the Harvard dictionary word list and the financial negative word list developed by the authors. And also, I think the most important thing is that when they look at the correlation between the excess return and the negative words identified by the 2 dictionaries, they found that the correlation between the excess return and the Harvard dictionary is smaller while the correlation between the excess return and the financial negative word list developed by the authors themselves is larger. I mean, in terms of the absolute value. And here is the details about the words, the word list of the two word list. So this is the word, the negative word, the top 30 negative word appeared in identified by the Harvard Dictionary. And we can see that among the top 30 words, only 5 of them also appeared in the financial negative words list developed by the authors themselves. And actually, when they look at all the words, they found that about 3/4 of the Harvard negative word typically doesn't have negative meanings in financial documents based on their classification. And there are some misclassification that may bias the measure of tone for specific industry. If we look at the 30 words, let's see the first one, the tax, cost, capital, cost, expense. It doesn't really mean negative things in 10K reports. It's just a neutral, it's just a term. And for words like mine, cancer, they may just represent a specific industry. But in the Harvard Dictionary, it represents something negative. So they further look at the financial negative word list, and actually they found that among the top 30 negative words listed in the financial negative dictionary, 21 of them also appear in the Harvard Dictionary. And also they found that the word frequency follows the Zipf's law. It means a small number of very high frequency words and there is a large number of low frequency words. So this is the details of the two word dictionary. And then they look at the relationship between the excess return and the proportion of negative words in the 10K reports. So the gray line is the proportion of negative words identified by the Harvard Dictionary. And you can see that firms with a high proportion of negative words, it have a very slightly lower return compared to firms having a relatively few negative words on those lists. But for the proportion of negative words identified by the Financial Negative Dictionary, we can see that clearly there is some monotonic negative relationship between the proportion of negative words and the excess return.
Yeah, this chart, that chart, I always, from this paper, I always show this chart, and that W from the Harvard Dictionary just means, there's no relationship that you can see, right?
Yeah.
So a big improvement by using the new negative word list that they developed.
This figure is more like a visual representation of the findings. And then to quantify the effect, they run some regression analysis. So for this column and this column, they use the proportional weights of the negative words. For the first column, the independent variable is the proportion of negative words identified by the Harvard Dictionary. And the dependent variable is the excess return. And you can see that this coefficient is not significant. But when the authors, they turn to the Financial Negative Dictionary, the coefficient is negative and significant, meaning that when there is a higher proportion of negative words, identified by the Financial Negative Dictionary, the excess return of the firm is lower. And in the next two columns, the authors account for the distribution skewness using the TF-IDF weights. So for the term weighting method, actually you can see that these two coefficients, they both turn to be significant. So it means that the term weighting method can mitigate the noise in both measures, especially for the Harvard Dictionary measure, because it turns from insignificant to significant. And they did similar analysis for the MD&A section, and actually the result is pretty much similar to the full 10K reports. So to further validate the classification methods, they used alternative dependent variables, and they include more self-developed dictionaries to predict different dependent variables. For example, when they predict the excess return with all the 7 dictionaries, they found that for firms using fewer negative, uncertain, and model strong and model weak words realize a more positive reaction from the market. And when they look at the abnormal trading volume during the event window, and they found that when there is more negative words as measured by both Harvard Dictionary and the financial negative word list, the abnormal trading volume is higher. And also they look at the post-event return volatility, and they found that a higher proportion of positive, negative, or model words is linked with larger stock return volatility in the year after the filing. And when they use...
Yeah, I just want to say you have about 5 minutes.
Okay, I will wrap up quickly. So they also checked the validity of using the weighting procedure, and they found that the significance of the word list, they are pretty much all improved. So it means that the weighting procedure can mitigate the noise of misclassification. They also have some other alternative measures. For example, they measured the subsequent earnings surprises for the firm, and they found that actually the negative word identified by the Financial Negative Dictionary is significantly correlated with subsequent earning surprises for the firm. So furthermore, they test the validity of the dictionary they developed in alternative context. For example, they use a sample of seasoned equity offering obtained from the Thomson Financial, and they compare the negative tone measures with the discount of the offering price relative to the market price. And also they use the negative tone measures for all news stories relating to U.S. firms in the Dow Jones archive, and the result is pretty much robust. So to quickly wrap up, so for this paper, they examined words that occur in the 10K reports, and they create a list of words that typically have a negative meaning in financial report. And they found that for the Harvard Dictionary, actually there is a high misclassification rate. So researchers must be cautious about word classification derived outside the domain of business usage. And also the authors introduced the term weighting scheme. It can help lower the noise introduced by word misclassification. In addition, the authors, they developed 5 other word classification rules, like the positive dictionary, uncertainty, strong model and weak model words, and they found that there is a link between negative tone and the returns.
Okay,
So,
don't stop sharing your screen. I have to do a sound check, okay?
sure.
Can you hear this?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right, well, we're going to take a little break right now. We're ending class today at 9:45. So it's still, we're going to do a 10-minute break because someone shared their code from last week. So that's the unpleasant surprise. So this week, usually I'll pick someone randomly, but this week I'll let there be a volunteer. So we'll keep track. We're keeping track of who presents and stuff like that. Hanxin, are you keeping track for me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So whoever presents their code today, this might be the only time you get a chance to because we do have like so many students. So does anyone want to present their code today? Like just, okay. Several. So I guess we could do rock, paper, scissors, but Fang Bing, go ahead. You can present. Maxim, you can do next week. Hanxin, if we can remember the Maxim, we promised him he could do next week.
Right, should I open my avocado to
Yeah,
the
you can do
presentation?
that, or you can show the HTML that you submitted, but either way, it will look the same.
Okay.
So whatever you want to do, and then share your screen.
Okay. You just give me a minute to open my other
No
condo.
problem.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
open my other condo. Right, Jupiter here. Like it takes like a minute to open it.
Okay.
So I use a laptop
Are you
and
trying to get me to play more music?
all right.
Okay.
It's good. It has pretty good taste, I think.
All right. It's coming, right?
Mm. Okay.
Hours later.
All right, I find it
Maybe you just open the HTML.
here.
All right. So you got it. Good job.
Yes. So the first part here is I just downloaded Campaign.idx and open it and read it. So as you say, we read it by using red lines because it has a format like this. So each line represents one object. So we use red lines here.
Yeah, it turns that index file variable into a list of lines, right?
Yes. And then I create the empty list, which is called find list, and find item. It's just like a initialize of all the variables that we use in the next part. So it's just like that. And after that, this part is the place where I put my codes to find all those 10Ks. So a little bit different from what you taught in the class for the last week. I use while loop, not for loop, because we have the target that we want to find 100, exactly 110Ks of the company. So I just use while loop here. It says while item is smaller than 100, we just keep going this loop. And here's a control. If I do it once, my items will add one.
So
Is that clear?
So does this let's see. It just finds 10K in the line somewhere, or NT 10K, or 10K/A. It just finds it somewhere in there.
Yeah, I just, because I just want to find 10K, but if I search 10K directly, they will give me both, give me 10K, NT 10K, and 10K A. So here I say I only need this one, 10K, the others, I don't need it. If I find it, I will append that what I found in my empty list, which is called find list. And since the item is the length of the find list, that means how many items we have in that list
Oh, so you,
is equal to the
yeah, I see
length
what
of
you
the
did.
find list.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
So in this part, I just do want to make sure I do find what I want, so I print it out. So you can see we find 100 of 10K here. Just like this. And for the next part is, okay, let me see. For the next part, I just want to create the like the address of the website I want to download. So I make a list called report list. In this list, we include all the address like this: 3W store, sin.government, and it's just use a for loop, and we append this fix the characters and add it with the last item in the final list, which is this part. And we combine them together and we get the address.
So wait, the report the report list has the web address, and the company list has the
company number here. I think it's
the CIK. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a unique number because
so
for the later part, I need this one to be the file name of my or download 10K, so I make another list.
Yeah, and I need to tell everyone everyone needs to go back and work on this assignment, because I forgot to say when you save the file, you do need three things in the file name. So you got the company CIK. The CIK is the unique identifier. It's called central index key. It's the unique identifier for that the SEC gives to each company. So you need to have in each file in the file name, you have to have the CIK, the filing date, and the document type. So you almost got it all already. It's easy. You just need to add in the document type and the filing date. So you guys need to do that. Otherwise, if you have multiple 10Ks from the same company, then you can't identify them. So you need to have the filing date.
Right.
So each of you should go back in your assignment and rename the files with those three things: the filing date, the CIK, and the file type. So like I would do like 10K. I don't know. Put them in whatever order you want.
So since it's I was considering that I really need a unique file name of each file, so I just use this one. But it's not
you already figured it out. But I'm just telling you, probably even better to add a little more information in the file name.
It's all right. Should I just add it here?
Yeah, you can do it now or later. I'm not going to ask you to turn it in.
Okay.
You guys do need to do it.
You're right. I'd rather do it later.
Yeah, okay.
And for the next part, as
your code anymore. I see a guy on a mountain.
Yeah, I know. This function, I define function to create a file. So here's a Python, I think it's a library, which you can use with open and the writing model and ask something to write what you get here. And just to make sure I've already write it, so I print succeed.
Yeah, I think it will actually close within the with statement. It'll close the file for you when you go to the next.
Yeah,
But that's
I
okay.
do close it, right?
Yeah, you do close it, but I think it closes it for you because you're in a with statement there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. You can ask Washa. Is that right, Washa?
Yeah, correct.
And I don't know. I guess that's a good file. .text. I guess that works. I don't know. TXT.
Yeah, because they are all TXT actually. So in the last part, I just import request this library will enable me to copy. Actually, I think it's kind of copy all the things on that web page. So here, I use requests.get that web address. So the web address is just all the elements in the report list, just as I shown before. It's like all of them is like this. So here, the web page response. I get all my content in the web page response and change its format to TXT, and then I create the file name of that file by using a company number, and then I call the create file function here. So after that, I get all what I need. It's just here.
So how did you find this code to?
What?
How did? Oh, what? No, how did you
Oh,
find?
because I haven't go through this part.
No, that's fine. How did you find the code? Did you just go on Google and figure it out that way, or what did you do?
Actually, I have a book.
You have what?
Which I have a book of instruction of Python. So like an introduction of some of common Python functions and libraries. So I use a book to find it.
Okay.
I think she's really good at coding.
Yes, because actually I did some of those kind of things before. So let's just see the result here. I'm not sure where did I keep it.
I mean, can you share the book with us?
Yeah, it's okay. Maybe we should have another student present today because you did a few things here that were more advanced, like create your own function, and then that we haven't done yet. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and show your results, and then see what time it is.
Okay, I just wonder where is it.
There's a close the rolling bottom, pose to the rolling bottom in the top.
Rounding.
This is not this one. The right one.
The right one, this one?
Yeah, you can interrupt it.
I interrupted, and where can I find it?
I don't know. Where did you try to show us your files?
You can open your files.
On your computer somewhere.
I know it's somewhere, and I think I found it before.
If you didn't specify the location, it'll be in the same location as your code.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can check your directory and to see where such kind of files are saved.
All right, let me find where is it. It always takes me some time to find where did I put all my stuff. That's
Yeah,
That's a big question.
we believe you. You know,
Okay, I find it now. Okay,
you can have credit.
I've created here. They are all here. Now you can see it.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Why don't you open one up?
Yeah.
See, these are HTML though.
Yeah. Can you see it?
You need to change
See the file.
you need to change the file type to HTML, or you need to open one of these with a web browser.
Okay. It's like that.
Or with
That's why I get it as a TXT.
Nice. Good job. We can definitely use some. Okay, good job. All right. Yeah, we don't have time to see any more code, but look, we're all at different stages in our coding right now. And, you know, I was a terrible coder when I first started. And when you look at what Fang Bing did, it looks like she knows everything. But just wait till you see what Hua Sha does, you know, and then what Hanxin does. And some of us others, you know, most of us are beginners though. Most of us are brand new. And so if you have a question, please reach out to either Hua Sha, Hanxin, or me. And we've already all taken this class. And so we don't want you to get behind or feel overwhelmed, but you do need to spend a significant amount of time struggling through the code, because that's one of the main takeaways from this class is your ability to now do some coding independently and use it in projects in the future, which is going to help you quite a bit to get on papers as co-authors are looking for people who know how to code. And it's going to help you do your own research without being stuck or stymied. So it's a big takeaway from this class. If you feel like you still need help on this assignment, then reach out today. And let's make sure you get through every single assignment in this class, because that's going to be one of the main takeaways. All right, so we did that. Are there any questions, though, before we move on to the next thing? None?
Yes, I have one question for the funding. Actually, do you realize there's a company number which is 745543? This company actually has two 10K filing. So according your name ruling, your naming rule, then you will only get 99 files.
Oh.
Oh, very
Okay.
nitpicky of you, Yao. So, Fang Bing, do you have 100 files, huh? Maybe you don't get 100%?
Maybe.
Yeah, because if you just use the company number to name your files, then the later one will replace the previous one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we're going to fix that. All of us are going to fix that, right? Can I get you all to nod your heads? Yes, we're all going to fix that. We all going to name our files a little better this time. Okay, so our next assignment is going to be based on what we did this last week. So that's why you have to keep up. So you have to complete the previous assignment in order to do the next assignment. And now you're always able to read each other's code. You know, it's public now. So Dong says that Fang Bing is an amazing coder. And so he goes and looks on Google Drive and sees what Fang Bing did, and he learns. And that's great. That's a perfect way to go about it. So you can read each other's code, and maybe you don't understand what Fang Bing did, but you go and you look what someone else did, and okay, their code makes sense, and so you can learn from their code. But the idea is you try to do it yourself first, but you can definitely help each other and look at each other's code as well after you try to, but you got to be honest with yourself. Like, you got to really learn it yourself. Okay. I don't really check on that. I don't analyze your code to see if it's copied or whatever. I'm not going to do any of that. Really, it's up to you to make sure, you've learned it, but looking at other people's code is definitely something you can do, or talking with each other, even better. So Hanxin is going to help us now because I said, Hanxin, I'm not feeling very well. Can you help introduce the next assignment? And she's going to do that. I'm going to be here to answer any questions also, but we're going to learn a few new concepts to help us with the next assignment. So go ahead, Hanxin.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen and hear my voice? Okay, I can see your feedback. Well, basically, we'll learn some basic ideas of pandas and some basic requirements of our assignment there. For the pandas tutorial, there I just give you some very brief introduction of this library. If you want to learn more, I have put several learning links there. By the way, if you want to find all this notebook, you can go to the Google Drive in the week 2. I put all the materials I will use in this session in this folder called Materials Week 2. In this folder, you can find my codes and some other materials you will use for your assignment. Okay, we will go back to the Jupyter Notebook. For the pandas learning, I have put some links here. The first link is a little bit like an official document where you can find all these methods and the functions, which is a little bit like a reference. I know it's really tedious to read through all these kind of official documents. You can use it just like a reference when you have some issues, you would like to use some kind of functions. You can go back to this reference and see what you can do. Well, for the second link, I actually strongly recommend you to read this link because it's a very good learning material about pandas. The title of this material is called 10 Minutes to Pandas. To my own experience, if you're beginners, it will take you more than 10 minutes to read it, but it's really worth reading. So
Yeah, I did this one. I did 10 minutes of pandas when I was beginner. Like this is really useful just to get you. You guys are going to be using pandas for the rest of the year. So we're introducing it today, second day of class, because it's so important. So do some of this. Just do this 10 minutes to pandas and pay attention right now because it's going to make life a lot easier. That's why we use it.
Yeah, it will just introduce you all the basic functions provided by pandas, and it will be super useful and helpful for your later assignments and research. Now we'll go to the third link. Perhaps some students may ask me the question, is there some ways to learn pandas more interestingly? So I put this link, which is an interesting way to learn pandas. It just gives you interactive Python shell. You can write your code there and it will return your outputs, which is a really interesting way to learn pandas basics. So you can play fun with it. Okay, in this course, this session will basically cover some basic ideas of pandas. If you want to learn more, please refer to such kind of links. Before we use pandas, we need to import panda library. You need to type this line of code, import pandas as PD. If you do not have pandas installed, please type pip install pandas in your Jupyter Notebook. After you type in the import pandas as PD, then you can start your pandas experience or pandas trip. Firstly, we'll try to talk about how we can create objects. Now we'll look at how to create series. What's the meaning of series? Actually, you can just regard it as just one
Hanxin, can I interrupt you for a second?
Okay.
I just want to just so you guys know like what Hanxin's trying to accomplish with what pandas does is it organizes your data into tables basically. She's going to talk about a pandas data frame. A data frame is a table like an Excel file, like a worksheet with columns and rows. So Pandas just helps you like really easily and instantaneously create these tables and gives you access to the columns and rows. It gets your data ready for analysis. It gets you, it makes it easy to store your results. You can store large volumes of text in the tables, and you can keep everything organized in the Panda data frame. So that's what Hanxin is getting at in this presentation. Sorry for interrupting you, Hanxin.
Okay, I will continue. That's fine. Please interrupt me if there's something wrong with my presentation.
There was nothing wrong with the presentation. I was just kind of, adding a little color.
Okay. Well, firstly, we can try to create a series. What's the meaning of a series? We can just treat it as one column. For example, you want to create a column called S1. You can simply type pd.series and then you put a list there. In this list, np dot.
I'm sorry, but I cannot hear you very well.
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's much better. Thank you.
So I need to get close to my microphone. So what you need to do is put a list there. In this list, you have several elements, including 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the missing value. Now you can simply print S1 to check this column you just created. Currently, you can get the results. And this is the column you just created. However, sometimes one column is not enough to deal with the data, because some data have multiple features or attributes. You need to use the table to contain all these kind of attributes. In this situation, what you need is a table instead of a column. So, currently, I will teach you how to create a data frame. To be honest, there are different ways to create data frame. In this session, I will just introduce a commonly used way to create data frame. We can use a dictionary to create data frame. Before we creating data frame, I would like to introduce the basic construction of dictionary. There are basically two elements in one dictionary, including case and their corresponding values. There I define a dictionary which is called dict1. Then I print this dictionary. I suppose you are a little bit confused about the case and the values. In this dictionary, case include country, capital, area, population. If you want to check corresponding values, if the K equal to country, you can simply write this line of code. And finally, you can get this output. According to this output, it's easy to see that the corresponding values when K equal to country include Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Hey, Hanxin, can you do a more basic dictionary since we didn't cover those in the last class? Can you just quickly code like something that's really basic, like an empty dictionary, and then do one key value pair, and then another one, and print them out so we can see what the dictionaries.
Yes, of course.
And then just talk a little bit more about that, because the first dictionary you're showing is more complicated. So go ahead.
Okay, I will show you a simple dictionary. Now I define a dictionary which is called a dict2. In this dictionary, the K there is name. Then I can add some values according to this K.
But even more basic, because you're saying the key is a string called name, and the value is a list.
Yeah.
It could be the key is the key can be anything.
Anything.
Yeah, it could be a number, and the value could be just one number. It doesn't have to be a list, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for pandas, it makes sense to put it like the way you're doing. But I'm just saying, like, for example, yeah, that's a valid dictionary. It's just the key is the string 1 and the value is the number 1.
Yeah.
So but what you can do is what Hanxin is doing is you're saying the key is like it's almost like your column name, and then all the values in the column come in the list afterwards. So dictionaries are like a important type of object in Python, not just in pandas. So you use dictionaries like you use lists, or you use them all the time. When you do the key value pairs are very helpful. So you need to practice a little bit with dictionaries to get used to them. But I think that's so you guys can see what a dictionary is. You can do an empty dictionary by just doing the curly brace brackets, and then you can just add stuff to it as well. Can you add something to dict2, like another key value pair?
Well, continue.
Wait, no, I want you to show them how you do that. Like for dict2, add another key called 2. Go back, yeah, do dict2. Type in dict2. No, go back on line 5. Go to line 5. Add a line. Dict2. Then, yeah, square bracket. Square bracket. No, do a square bracket. Like here, I'll type you like, or I'm gonna send you a text, chat. Like, do you see my chat?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Oh, got it. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know, it's confusing.
Got it.
Just show them how to do that.
And 2 is the little key, and this 2 refers to the value corresponding to the k equal to 2.
Now add another one, like for 3, except if instead of so do this. I just want them to see how versatile dictionaries are. Whoops, I made a typo. It should be dict2, right?
Yeah.
So the value could be anything, right? Wait, you did a typo. There's no T in the name of dict. Yeah.
Thanks for your correction.
So you see how there's 3 keys and they each have their own values. Now you can access the keys individually, right? So you can say, you could do lots of things. You could show a list of keys. So you could do, yeah, a list of values or keys. Do the keys. So those are the values. But you can print the keys out, and then you just do the 3 there in the quotation marks. No, just do the, no, let's do the, in the square brackets, do the 3. Yeah, like that. And that'll give you that's the key, now it prints out the value. So, like this is the dictionary object. So what's the value we're working with? Print out the value of in the next part. You can see the keys are country, capital, area, population, and the values are, lists. And you're able to generate a table from that based on, and you need to make sure, in this case, the number of items in each list is the same, right? So you can generate a table from it. All right, Hanxin, you're good to go. Keep going with your pandas tutorial.
Okay. For this dictionary one, I want to add one more point. You can just print this line, just a little bit like the dictionary 2, and the k is equal to 3. To check how many countries you have in this dictionary, this is very similar to this line of codes. Now, based on this dictionary, you can create your own data frame. What you need to do, just need to type pd dot data frame, then you put your dictionary 1 there. And finally, you want to check your data frame. So you just need to type df1 and you can see this table. For the dictionary too, you can also create data frame. You can see from this list, because you have 3 values when the k equal to 3. So generally you will have 3 rows. For the other k, even though they just have 1 single value, but they need to fill all these rows. We can see 1 repeat for 3 times in this table. Does this make sense?
Okay, does that mean Panda create a matrix of the dictionary?
Yeah, it's basically a matrix. It's table. It's kind of synonymous though with table.
Okay, we will go on. After doing this, you have constructed the data frame 1, and you would like to get some basic information of this data frame. So you can simply type df1 dot info and add your brackets. According to this output, you can check the basic information of the whole table. That can be especially useful when your data frame is really huge. You just would like to check the basic information. In this output, you can check the columns, non-counts, and the types for different columns. This is very useful. Now we can try to viewing data in some other ways. For example, you just want to check the initial 3 records, and you can simply type df1 dot height and you put 3 there because you just want to check the initial 3 rows and ignore all the records. However, in this situation, you just want to check the bottom rows instead of the top rows. What you can do is use a method called tail and put the row number there. And the output is just the final 3 records in this table. Now you can also check the index and the columns separately using methods called columns and index. These operations are really simple, but it can be convenient for you to know the basic information of this data frame. Does this make sense?
So the index would be the automatically assigned primary key or unique identifier for each row.
Well, you can also change the index, but that can be also automatically assigned by different numbers, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can change it.
Yeah, I'm just saying currently that's what it is. It was automatically assigned to each row.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we'll go to the next section. We'll try to select the specific columns and rows. I suppose this is really similar what we have done for the dictionary. If you just want to select specific columns, you just use df1 at the bracket there, and then you use a country, which is a column name. And finally, the output will give you the column values for these attributes, which is really simple to understand and operate. Now, instead of selecting specific columns, you want to select specific rows. In this situation, you can use slice. You just need to slice the rows and put your row numbers you would like to check there. And finally, you can get this output. Now we'll go to a little bit more complicated situation. In this situation, you want to select records by labels instead of rows and columns. What you can do is to use a method called LOC. In this method, 1 refers to the number of rows, or you can also refer it as an index. And the areas and populations are column names in this table. So there, This method means that you want to select the second records. You want to check the second records area and the population values. And finally, we got this output. Does this make sense?
I have a question about the F1.log. So what if the index is not randomly assigned? What if the index is like 2, 3, 4? And this time when we have the F1.log square bracket 1, will we still have the second row, or we will have the row indexed as 1?
Well, this is a really good question. To my understanding, this just refers to the index. You can consider it as an index instead of the number of rows.
I think it refers to the second row.
I suppose it refers to index.
Okay, so we have a disagreement, so we need someone to find out for us this week.
Because sometimes the index can be different. However, if you just use a different index, you'll just get a record from this index.
Okay, well, you know what? It's not going to affect the assignment this week. It refers to index or the row number. I'm not sure. I thought it was the row number. But.
Well, now we'll go to.
Just go on.
Now, in this situation, you would like to select by position. What does a position mean? For example, when you look at this table, the Brazil is located in the first row and the first column. So the position of Brazil value is 0, 0. If you use a method called ILOC, it will select values just based on their position. In other words, you need to put a position index there. For example, if I write a code like this, df1.iloc bracket 1 column 2, it will just give me the value 70.1. Which appears there. We just give the position index of this value to the method ILOC, and it will return our methods. It will return this value. And you can also use slides there.
Hanxin, what is the differences between LOC and the ILOC?
To my own understanding, I suppose for the IOC, you can put the column names there, but for the ILOC, you can only use the number, the position index. For example, when you look at LOC, you can select the area's population. However, if you use this kind of column names, pass them to the ILOC, it will not work. Perhaps I will give you an example.
It's okay, actually. We only have 10 minutes, and this concept isn't going to really help you with the assignment, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying that won't work.
Not have a lot work.
Yeah, so let's keep going.
Okay. And finally, we'll talk about how to get data in and out. This can be really important for your assignment this week. Generally, perhaps you can initially change the directory where you would like to save this file by using the always.change directory function. After doing that, you can simply save df1 as CSV file by type this kind of code. And now you go back to the directory you have predefined. And then you will see the table 1. Oh, sorry. It is a little bit slow, my computer. This is a df1's information you just saved. Perhaps now you need to use this table again, and how we can read this file is also simple. You can use a function called pd.read csv, and then you put your file name there, and finally you can get the output of this data frame. And you can do some further checking or some other kind of operations of this table. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll go to the assignment. Will you talk about it, Professor Kevin, or I will continue?
No, I can take it. I can take over. All right. So the assignment is to simply take 10, or you can do all 100. 10 or 100. 10K reports from your last assignment. You know, it's nice to do 10 because you learn how to do stuff randomly. So you could randomly select 10. So use a random function. And then you're going to clean the HTML using Beautiful Soup. So it's like one line of code. So there's a library of code called Beautiful Soup. And did you give them that code already?
Yeah, I put this code, all these kind of things in the Google Drive, and I put an example there.
Do you have? It's just like one line of code, isn't it? Oh, you have multiple lines of code.
Just one line of code, I suppose that can work. Just this line.
Just
right.
That will make it look nice.
Mm.
And then the get text.
Yeah.
And then what are you doing? The find all. What's the CCC find all?
Because I use these websites as an example.
Oh,
you try to use the Beautiful Soup to clean this web page. So I try to illustrate how Beautiful Soup work. Because there's some message codes.
Beautiful Soup helps you easily parse through HTML and XML. It's really nice.
Yeah, as you can see from this example, if you do not use the Beautiful Soup, you'll just get this very messy code. But after you use the Beautiful Soup, you'll get some very clean textual contents, and you can do some further analytics.
Yeah, that looks real nice. So you're going to clean the HTML. Okay, and Hanxin's given you some code already.
Yeah.
Then what you need to do is basically we just want a word list. We want everything to be tokenized. So you're going to make everything lowercase. You're going to get rid of punctuation because we don't want to count. If you have a punctuation attached to a word, then it looks like a different word, right? So, and then so you're gonna basically convert each document into a list of words, and it's gonna be all lowercase because you don't want to deal with case. So you just always do everything in lowercase. And then step 4, a series of calculations. Wasn't that just to count the number of negative words?
I put there.
All of those. We didn't talk about stemming, so we're not going to do stemming today. Things seem to go slower on when we do the Zoom. Actually, we also have a shorter class today. So you're going to create a file. You're going to create a pandas data frame that looks like this. It's going to have the file name and the word count for each file. The total number of negative words. So do you have the negative word list for them, Hanxin?
Yes, I'll also put this into the Google Drive.
Okay. So you have to count how many negative words there are in each document, in each 10K. And then you have to have a column that's negative word ratio, which is the total number of negative words divided by the total number of words. You just divide column C by column B. And you created this pandas data frame. and then you convert it, you export it to CSV. You
Yeah.
save it as CSV file. So what you'll turn in next week is the CSV file.
And you need to also submit another CSV file, which is called the selected words count. For all the documents, you need to count the number of selected words. For example, abandon is selected words. You need to count the number of these words in all 10K reports.
Oh, okay. So that would be like all the negative words and all their counts in the total count in all the documents.
Yes. So students need to submit 2 CSV files.
2 CSV files. So
Yeah. One is the total word count and another one is the negative word count.
And then your code. So 2 CSV files and your code.
And also slides.
Right. And you guys know which presentation you have next week? Can you bring up the syllabus? I think it's in there somewhere in the decoding folder. Week one. It's in week 1, actually.
I will try to open the syllabus.
So yeah, you need to work with pandas data frames. Put your data in the panda data frame, and then save that as a CSV file. So group 1 has the Feng Li paper, which is also a very important paper, and group 2 has the readability by Smith and Taffler. All right, so any questions? I know that I feel like the assignment looks more difficult even than last week in some respects. So my strategy would be to just go step by step, one little thing at a time. Select 10 files randomly. You have to work with the Locker McDonald, the negative word list that is provided. You have to get that into your code. You have to read that in, and then you have to go and try and clean up the data in your 10K so that you can start counting how many times you see those words in the 10K. And then you have to generate your pandas. You have to build your pandas data frames and then just export them to CSV. So quite a few steps, super useful. Everything in this assignment is like very useful. So take the time to do it. All right. It's going to make this class really good for you. Any questions? Who feels a little overwhelmed by the assignment? You know what? Get started on it right away so you can start asking us questions, starting tomorrow. So we have a week, and next week is the afternoon class, the late class for our Chinese students. So, all right, let me see if I can do some, I guess this is how we feel, like totally overwhelmed. We don't know what to do. But you know what, guys? It's not that bad. You'll get it. You're all really smart. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So, all right. Anything else, or do you want to just say class is over? Just do a little bit today. Just a little. Just so you remember the assignment. Okay? Do a little bit today. Do a little bit today. All right. I'll see you guys later.